Darkness kills, destroys the will. Find a spark, make hearts thrill. Hear the tales of time so grim. Shine a light, don't let it dim. Heather Brown downtown, bound. True crime story she's found. In the shadows, secret stay. Need a light that finds the way.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Defeating the Darkness, True Crime Stories with Downtown Heather Brown. That's me, your host. I'm a former homicide and sexual assault prosecutor here in Orange County, California. And tonight we're out here. It's kind of hot. I'm sweating like a hostage over here, swatting the mosquitoes. So if you see me swatting, that's why. Speaking of SWAT, tonight we have with us former FBI SWAT Special Agent Tom Brown, FBI. Welcome back to the show, honey.
Thank you. I'm surprised I got invited back.
Well, me too. But I was shocked to hear that some of my friends said that some of their favorite episodes, Kevin Shanae, in fact, he called me and said, I mean, mind you, he'd only listened to 8 episodes, but he said to me, hey, you know who was my favorite so far? And I guessed a few people that I thought might have been in the top. No offense, you weren't there. But he then said he loved your episodes. And so I have had some people reach out to me and some listeners send me some emails at defeatingthedarknesspodcast.com, something like that. Anyway.
You should know that.
I know. I think it's at Gmail.
It's hard to promote it if you don't know.
Podcast@gmail.com. You can reach out to us. And
maybe you could get your producer to put that on the screen.
He's going to put it on the screen.
Okay, that would be good.
My husband's a little bit, I don't know what the word is, but antagonistic tonight. So I thought we could dial this episode down and make it a little more user-friendly than me and my husband fighting. So I thought I'd make some cocktails. So tonight, I am going to continue our new series called Justice on the Rocks. And we're going to film my favorite cocktail. Well, one of my favorite, because I have quite a few. And Tom Brown's newly favorite cocktail. So we're going to get you in the mood, baby, to be nice to me and not make so many, snarky little quips, which are funny but hurtful, honey. So tonight...
They're only meant to be funny.
I know, honey. I know. It's the thought that counts, right? Not what actually happens. So we have with us, I have multiple options of vodka, but first, should I make your drink first and be a very hospitable host, even though we're in your own backyard?
Yes, please.
So recently we went to a wedding and they were serving espresso martinis, and my husband, who does not drink, in fact, I just have to tell this little funny story. Our first date, he told me, I really don't like the taste of alcohol, and I definitely don't like the way it makes me feel. And I was like, I love the taste of alcohol, and I really love the way it makes me feel. So I've yet to convert him into, drinking a bit, but he'll have 1-2 a year maybe. And generally at weddings, I can get him to drink. So we were at a wedding recently and he tried the espresso martini, and guess who actually loved the taste of espresso martinis? You, Tom Brown, FBI. You loved it, didn't you? So I'm going to make them.
I did. They were good.
Okay, I'm going to make them one. I'm going to do it the easy way, but this is the quick and easy, down and dirty way to make an espresso martini. So you take your shaker, just standard shaker. You toss some ice in there, right?
Did you wash your hands?
I did. You toss some ice in there, and generally speaking, espresso martini is made with vodka and espresso. And you mix it up together, and you can add Baileys, or you can add, what's that other one called that you make White Russians with?
Kahlua?
Yeah, thank you. Oh my God, you knew the name of an alcohol. Kahlua. You can mix it with Kahlua. Well, tonight we're going the cheap and easy way, and we're just using Kettle One cocktails. It says espresso martini, and all you got to do is pour it on ice. If you want it as a martini, you toss this in. I tried this a couple weeks ago. It was delicious. You pour it into your little martini shaker with the ice because you want to get it nice and chilled. I'll make a baby one because, Tom's a novice at drinking. I don't want him all drunk. have to carry him upstairs. So you take your little shaker and you get it on tight so you don't spill all over, and then your husband has to clean it up. He's complaining.
I'm nervous. I don't know about you.
You should be nervous because this shaker's not cooperating. Anyway. I love that song. They're playing our song, baby. Okay, you shake it up nice and good. And that you'll know because it gets all chilled when it's just right. And then you just pour this baby into a beautiful crafted martini glass. I believe my friend Maureen Kirby bought me these glasses a long time ago. And voila. Okay, if you want to be super fancy, you can toss a couple espresso beans on top. If you wanted it creamier, you would add the Baileys or the Kahlua and mix it sweeter. But this one should be just what Tom Brown needs to get him nice and liquored up for this episode, because he's going to tell us the secrets, the deep down dirty secrets. Now for me, because, you know,
Not bad.
Tom Brown's my husband, I'm going to make my favorite, which is a Greyhound. I love a nice Greyhound. It's particularly delicious in the morning. And the way you do that, you take vodka. You can use, I don't mean the morning, like, well, I do mean the morning. But I mean, like, if you're on vacation and you want a cocktail around 11 and it's too early for like a glass of wine or a martini, you go with the Greyhound. It's refreshing, it's hydrating, and the grapefruit juice in it actually burns calories. That's what I keep telling myself. Anyway, so you do Tito's. I like Tito's. Tito's is yummy. Or you could use Kettle, or you could use any kind of vodka you want. Use a better kind of vodka, though, because you'll have a hangover if you don't. We're going to go with Kettle tonight. You just fill it up with ice. Normally I have more ice, but it's super hot out and my ice has melted. So I'm just going to pour 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a lot of vodka. We'll see how that plays out over this episode. And then usually do like a 4-second pour. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then you fill it up with grapefruit juice. So now, if you want a different version of that, it's what's called the salty dog. The only difference is with a salty dog, getting a new class, you put, guess what? Salt on the rim. If you ever notice in the fancy restaurants, they put like fancy little sidecar salt. I bought this from Flora Farms, hibiscus salt. And all you do is you dump it on a little plate, the salt. You don't have to put a lot, but oops, spilling it all over. Okay. This is particularly pretty because it's hibiscus and it's purple. And then you get these on Amazon. They just say lime juice. If you're going to make, margaritas with salt or put tahini on the rim, you can do it. Pour a little, little went overboard. You pour a little lime juice. I haven't even started drinking yet. Then you wet the rim. So you just dip it in the lime juice. And then you go like this with your cup. And you swish it around the salt where the lime juice is, and you get a nice little salted rim for your drink. Right? And isn't that pretty with the hibiscus on it? And then it looks super fancy. And then, if you take your Greyhound and you put it in your salted rim glass, you now have a salty dog to enjoy. Cheers. Cheers, baby.
Cheers.
Let's give him a good episode. Let's give him a fun one.
All right, we'll give it a shot.
This is delicious, even without the proper amount of ice. You want one, Kate? The camera will be all over the place. All right. So now that we have our drinks in hand, let's carry on. Let me get settled back here. All right. You feel better?
I feel much better. This is the best espresso martini I've had
all day?
All day.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it.
It's excellent. It's better than the ones at the wedding. They gave cheap alcohol at the wedding.
No, they didn't. Our friend listens to this podcast. It was very expensive alcohol.
I didn't say whose wedding.
I know, but they know because they remember you being up all night after drinking 4 of them. Okay. Actually, that was Richie. Richie, I know you're...
Now they know who's up. Now they know whose wedding we're talking about.
Yeah, Richie, I know that you were up all night the night of your son's wedding, and it was fun. And Tom Brown likes the espresso martinis too, so don't feel so bad. All right, Tom, so the reason that I brought you back on this podcast to do this episode is because some of our listeners have written in and asked some questions and they want answers. And so I thought, well, let me.
I could tell you the answers. But if I tell you it, I have to kill you.
Yeah. Where is that even from, that saying? Do you know?
No, they said it. I don't know who they are, but you know, they always say that.
They? Who is they? Do you?
Who knows? I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, so you told us, for those listeners who haven't heard of Tom Brown, FBI, and you don't know who he is, he's my husband. And it was an FBI agent for how many years?
28 and a half.
28 and a half years. And while he was an FBI agent for the last 11 years of his career, he was the chief firearms instructor at the
Jerry Crow Regional Training Center, which is also known as Old El Toro Range, because we took over the Marine Corps base, which was Marine Corps Air Station El Toro when the base closed down in 98 and the FBI took it over.
Okay. And so you ran that range for many, many years. And so you were the bossy one, bossing orders, and you would actually do the qualifications. Like you would run the FBI agents through the qualification course.
Yes. Yeah. So myself, I had a partner down there with me, a couple different partners over the years. I had Mike Camella with me for many years. And then I had Scott Hill, Molly Chang, down there. And so it was a good time, running it. So we were the ones who run the training for the FBI folks, our quarterly quals, our annual tactical training, any specialized training, along the firearms tactical, defensive tactics, arrest control techniques. And we also facilitated training for other agencies, other SWAT teams, local SWAT teams from the different police departments in Southern California, mostly Orange County, but also up into LA County. And so.
And I know you told us the last time that you were on SWAT for many years. How long were you on the SWAT team?
I was on for 10 years. And then I became a member of the Gold team. And so I kind of helped the team for quite a few years after that, where I didn't train with the team regularly and I didn't do entries anymore. But if they needed extra bodies to help with perimeter and stuff, because they were doing multiple locations, there were several of us that had, basically turned in our SWAT gear for the most part, but still wanted to be a part of the team, and we helped out. So.
Okay. So you were like cameo appearances.
On occasion, yes.
So let me ask you this. When you're on the SWAT team and you're getting called out to these things, I'm assuming you have a ton of regular training where you train with the other SWAT members?
Yes.
And are you trained on like riots? Because recently, this is something in the news right now and relevant. We've had all these riots. And I'm just curious, like, is the FBI SWAT team, do they respond to those riots, or is that somebody else's purview?
Well, obviously from, what's happening now, the FBI can be called and repurposed, for any number of things. But generally, we didn't receive a lot of training in crowd control, riot control. I think, back in my time, there was, I think the Democratic National Convention was here in LA in the late 90s. The Salt Lake Olympics. When we might have had a day or so of training for, some type of riot or crowd control type training, but for the most part, that's not part of our normal training, not for the regular agents nor for the SWAT team. It's, we're training for, executing search warrants and arrest warrants on federal violations.
Okay. Is there a particular agency that gets trained in like riots and stuff like that? Like crowd?
Federally, that's generally like crowd control and riot control. If you're looking on a federal level, is going to be probably more on a lot of the different agencies have police. Like you have the Capitol Police. The FBI also has police officers. Secret Service has police. They work they're uniformed police officers that are part of the Secret Service or not Secret Service agents. And they'll be working more police type functions. And so they'll get that type of training. But the agents, for the most part, don't receive that type of training unless there's a known special event coming up that they think that might be involved for that.
So the FBI actually has police officers
Yeah.
in addition to agents.
In addition to agents, not a large contingent, but like that's basically our security force at, let's say, the FBI Academy, and probably the FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. The security there would be the FBI police.
Wow, I had no idea. So all these young people who are looking for government jobs, they should look into possibly being a federal FBI police.
Yeah, there's a lot of federal jobs out there. There's a lot of different ones, that nowadays, it's not, it's hard to say what's hiring. Obviously right now the big hiring push is in ICE, because that's where the money's going. And every administration, every, number of years, and ICE, almost 30 years, what the FBI's responsibilities were changed, multiple times over those years, where the emphasis was. It's always been, in certain areas, whether it be, international terrorism, domestic terrorism, the white collar crime areas, those things. And DEA does drugs. Other agencies have certain specialties, but you can certainly be repurposed, by the needs and, by the executive branch, controls them and can use them for whatever purposes they deem most the priorities.
Okay. Well, whoa, almost tipped over. It must be the Greyhound, actually the salty dog that I'm drinking. So I already have a salty dog. I got you. I don't need another one. Should switch back to the Greyhound.
I got me a salty dog too.
So
a pretty dog.
Oh, thanks. I think I might need a double. Okay. So Tom Brown, I want to talk to you about like the training that you gave. You were not just SWAT where you're shooting and you're like, I think you told us on the last episode that you were on that most people call, oh, I'm a sharpshooter, but sharpshooter is actually not the highest level of shooting, right?
It's generally not, depending upon the agency. Agencies will call different levels of, their marksmanship ability by certain things, but it's generally, you want to be in the expert range as opposed to a sharpshooter.
Okay, so expert is better than sharpshooter.
Yeah, and you were a sharpshooter, right? That's what they called you?
No, I think they said I was an expert.
I'm not sure about that.
All I know is you were sleeping with one eye open, baby, whatever they said. So I'm thinking that I was more than just a sharpshooter. Regardless, a sharpshooter's good shoot, right? A good shot. Did I say that right?
I had 3 yards, yeah.
Don't worry, it'll be up close. If you ever go man down, I am the first suspect for sure. I kill you off in every jury selection hypothetical. I always talk about going out in a boat and 2 of us go out and 1 of us comes home, me. And then they find your body at
the rogue wave.
Bottom of the lake. A rogue wig in the lake. Lake Mission Viejo. It was like a tsunami. So, okay, what I really want to ask you about, because I know that you are an expert in shooting for anyone who's thinking about doing something nefarious, but I want to ask you about some personal safety things. And I have had some questions that came in that I'd like to pose to you, but let's just start with my curious mind and the things I want to know. You were also a tactical instructor, right?
Yes.
And what does that mean? It's like SWAT stands for Special Weapons and Tactics. Is tactical instructor within the SWAT thing?
Yes. I mean, most of the tactical instructors for the FBI, I think, have to have a SWAT background. And that is teaching room entries, how you approach somebody, how you enter a room, how you clear a house, close quarter battle. CQB is the...
Oh, that's the lingo for...
That's the lingo, CQB, close quarter battle. It's, it's how do you clear a room? How do you enter somebody's house safely
and not
and
get
effect an
whacked.
arrest when they might be in there lying in wait? And just this, there's certain principles that you generally want to adhere to. Now, there's no way that you can ever 100% guarantee your safety unless you don't go in, right? Because somebody wants to hurt you, they can. Now they're probably going to get killed, right? And there are those people that, law enforcement officers come up against, almost every day that are willing to give up their life. And if somebody's willing to give up their life, there's a good chance that you're going to get hurt while you're affecting that. But the way you can minimize that risk is by certain tactical measures to clear houses, to clear rooms and such.
Okay. And so I remember a long time ago, you went out on some SWAT op and you told me about, like, I was like, was it dangerous? Like, what'd you guys do? And you were really chintzy with the details, for lack of a better word. You wouldn't really give me any inside scoop. But now that you're retired, just hypothetically, when you would go in a place, you guys would use flashbangs. Tell our listeners about flashbangs. I think you may have on another episode, but tell them again, because I want to ask some follow-up questions about the flashbangs.
Flashbangs are little concussion grenades. They don't have any type of fragmentation. So you think about a hand grenade from the military, right? You throw it in there and it explodes and you have shrapnel or pieces of metal, throwing out there that has a kill radius in there. When you throw this in there, it explodes and there's actually no fragmentation at all that goes into there. But it does have a high overpressure. It's just, and it could blow out windows. Say it was in a room the size of just this area here, and we threw it in there and everything was closed up, including windows. Windows could blow out. And the idea behind a flashbang is that it creates a huge flash. You
like
think
a
about
visual flash?
a visual flash. Like you think about
Can it blind you?
No, it's not going to blind you. It blinds you for a second or two.
Temporary.
Right.
blindness.
Temporary. Right.
Okay.
And that's the whole concept behind it. You throw it in there, the flash goes in there. It causes you to, get visually disoriented. The overpressure and the noise causes you to get more disoriented. So it gives the entry team an opportunity to get in there to clear what we call the funnel of death, the doorway.
Ooh,
Right.
funnel of death.
Right. Because, that's the funnel of death. So if somebody wants to kill you and they know the cops are out there and saying, FBI, open up, where are they looking? They've got their guns. If they've got a gun, right, they've got their guns pointed at the front door or whatever door,
Funnel of death.
Right. So when you come in there, right, they're pointed at that. They're not pointed at the wall over here. Right. So you've got to get in and get away from that funnel. Right. We've got to get in and get away from where they're doing it and cause them to have to, track you and move in there. So you do that. You have to do that quickly. And one of the
Are
things,
you in like that black jumpsuit and wearing all this gear?
it's
when this is
whatever the
happening?
SWAT gear, different teams have different, the FBI's going more towards calm down.
We should have done this episode a long time ago.
Whatever, now the team has gone more towards a green military style color
Boring.
on that.
I like that little black jumpsuit, that onesie outfit. What was it? What do you call it?
It was a flight suit. It was similar to a military flight suit,
Yeah.
which are typically green,
Black and says SWAT on it.
but it was black.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
we use that for a number of years. And the uniforms change, the materials change. Generally, they're fire retardant, fire resistant on the materials and stuff when you come in there.
Oh, that's
They're a
good to
little
know.
thicker, heavier material. They're not like cut glass. Like we do have cut gloves for people that breach windows and stuff like that. But they are of a stronger material so that, you have a little bit protection there, but they're not very strong.
Are they hot?
They can be, yeah.
What kind of equipment, like if you're busting in a house and you got to clear the tunnel of death, like what exactly are you wearing on your body? Aside from that hot, sexy jumpsuit.
Well, you've got your basically your garment that you're wearing, right? It's going to be long sleeves. You're going to have boots on there. You're going to have,
Steel toe boots?
protect your ankles. They don't necessarily have to be steel toe, but they're going to be solid, good, solid, rigid boots that are going to protect your ankles and protect your feet if you've got to kick something in there. You're not going to have anything, any exposed skin, as minimal exposed skin as possible. You're going to have gloves on, long sleeves. You're going to have some type of helmet on there. Most of the helmets nowadays have ear protection and radios combined within it, which are fantastic.
So you can talk to all
so
the
you
other.
can talk, and everything's in there. A lot of them now have, mounts for night vision goggles and different accessories that you can add to them. You're going to have some type of eye protection on. Some type of goggles are a good high protection resistance. What else are you going to have? You're going to,
Like, are you carrying your gun in your hand?
so you're going to have your body armor on.
Yeah.
And that's typically going to be something that now is completely wraparound. The old body armor back, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, the body armor used to be just a flap, a front little Kevlar or some type of body armor in the front.
So if they get in the side,
and
right?
the sides were exposed. And then they used to teach police officers to shoot Weaver. So you'd stand sideways. And
What does Weaver mean? Stand sideways?
Weaver was a very good shooter and a very good instructor. I forget his first name. Back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And he taught a stance that a lot of police agencies used. And it was, where you'd stand bladed sideways and you had your support arm kind of bent and brought in there and you would shoot like this. And police officers did use that on occasion, but what happens, you had body armor that protected in the front, you had body armor that protected in the back, but you had nothing under here and you went sideways. And if you took a round from your subject, it not only went through, it didn't hit body armor, it went through, lung, your heart, the other lung, and just caused a lot of devastation. And you want it's actually better if you're in a gunfight and you've got body armor on to take that shot straight on. And most of the agents and most SWAT operators will have their regular body armor on, which protects to a certain level, certainly protects for most handgun rounds, but not rifle rounds. But they'll also have, there's usually a pouch in there that you could put an armor plate in there that will typically protect from rifle rounds. And you can put that in there. I don't wear it on every operation, depends upon, because it's heavy. And if you end up being out there for a long period of time, all that extra weight is going to be on there. And then you're going to carry some type of entry rifle. The M4 is the current entry rifle. It used to be the MP5, and then we went to rifle rounds. That was after North Hollywood. I think we talked a little bit about that the last time.
You're talking fast,
yeah.
Tommy B.
I'm talking fast. It's the espresso. It's the caffeine and the espresso martini.
The end of the episode. I don't even understand anything that you're saying because you're talking so fast. After 2 espresso martinis.
Okay, we'll slow it down.
Well, because listen, I got to tell you, what you're telling us is kind of fascinating. I love it. I mean, I hope the listeners like it too. But like most of us, just average citizens don't know what it's like to be on the SWAT team and like all these, positions with the guns. Okay, so I think I may have possibly interrupted your train of thought there to ask you to slow down a little bit, but I want to get back to I have a couple questions about that. So you were talking about that position that I can't reenact it because you looked way better doing it than me. I actually wish you had that little jumpsuit on when you were doing it. But when you do that, like when you watch television, do they do it wrong all the time?
Not all the time, the vast majority of the time. And I actually would use, when I would do tactical training with the agents, I would refer to TV because agents would, and not necessarily the SWAT agents, but every agent goes through tactical training at Quantico on how to, properly enter rooms and stuff like that. Not necessarily in a team environment, but with, a two or three others as they're making an entry, and they learn how to make proper room entries. And a lot of them, the number of hours that you receive at the academy, and police officers are the same way, is for something like that is pretty small. It's not the emphasis of the training program. They've got a lot of other topics that they've got to get in there. And a lot of people watch these cop shows all the time, right? The FBI, Law and Order, all hundreds of them, Criminal Minds, whatever they are. And their brain is basically receiving training on how to do entries from these TV shows. Their brain is thinking that that's the way to do it. And they only get a couple of hours how to do it properly. And I tell them, look, the movie stars, the TV stars in these shows are doing it a certain way because they have to have their face exposed to the camera. The camera wants to see them, right? Where you're going to make entry a different way. So you'll see them when they come up to a doorway, people will stand there and they'll look over their shoulder to the doorway because the camera's back here looking at them to see how they make entry. Well, I want to go in here I don't want to be standing this way to go into a room. I want to be standing this way, but now the camera's back here. It's not in the room, right? So I'm going to be standing a different direction. So our agents will come up to doors, and here's the edge of the door, and they'll come up, and they'll look over the shoulder and look in there. Well, if I see somebody with a gun, how quick am I going to be able to get?
You got to get in ready.
Yeah, turn around and expose myself. Where if I'm here and I peer in there and I see something, I can either quickly get back or I can engage that threat. And so TV is, I watch it. I know you sometimes get upset about watching like cop shows because you live it every day. I watch it. I'm entertained by it. I'm like, yeah, that's fucked up. Or, hey, they're actually doing that right. You'll see a lot of times they're walking around with their finger on the trigger.
They do that all the time because you tell me, oh my God, their finger's on the trigger.
Yeah.
Well, I can't watch those shows. I can't watch Law and Order and all those SVU. I can't watch those crime shows because that's not how it happens in real life. And it drives me bonkers where the DA's like, tell us what they did, or we're looking at 25. Like, you're not allowed to talk to the defendant, especially if they have an attorney. Like, you're not negotiating with the defendant. They do that almost every show. Drives me
every show
bonkers. Drives me nuts. So it's too frustrating. And you're right. I lived it all day. I don't want to watch it at night. I watch dumb stuff, as you know. We won't go into that. Let's get back on topic, Tom Brown. Back on topic to you were demonstrating. Okay, so you hate the TV shows, SWAT stuff.
No, you hate the TV. I don't hate the TV shows, but the TV shows, and I'll point it out. I'll tell people I understand that they've had, hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of hours of seeing this as a repetition, and they've only had maybe 8 to 12 hours of doing it the right way at an academy level. And then we only do tactical training 8 hours, once a year, or depending upon what their specialty, what their typical operation is. They're doing firearms quarterly, but they're only doing tactical training 1 day a year, probably, unless they're on a specialty team. So I understand that they're going to revert to the muscle memory, what their brain has seen many times. So you've got to correct somebody on that. And some people, it's a little harder, to get them to do it. They keep on reverting back to what they've seen. For the most part, I think the folks, when I remember my last few years, the folks coming out of the academy, they're pretty squared away. They've got it pretty good.
That's good to know.
And
comfort.
Even in the firearms level and the tactical level, one of the things I noticed is over the course of a 20-year career, as people get farther away from their academy time, their tactics get worse and worse because they only get a limited amount of tactical training. Police officers, like their firearms, for the most part, they're on duty, they're on patrol. They'll swing over to the firearms range, and they'll take a half hour, and the range master will give them a course of fire and say, shoot this. Okay, you check the box, you qualified, and they'll send them out. And they're not getting instruction. They're not reinforcing the proper techniques. And you do that over, 5 years after you've left the academy, when you've had hundreds of hours of training. And now you're getting, maybe 4 or 6 times a year, an hour or two of training. And then 20 years down the road, bad habits have formed. And a lot of times the bad habits have formed due to, watching what they see on TV, watching, thinking, in their mind, this is the right thing to do. And I do think that TV shows do have a negative input on, not only the people who watch the shows, who expect the case to be solved within an hour, and solved, prosecuted, convicted, and sent to prison all in 1 hour, and absolutely no paperwork done. Right? We all you go out and you do an interview, you got to get that. There's a lot of paperwork involved in those things to document, to get it to the prosecutors so that they can understand what occurred, and they have the proof, the evidence to prosecute that crime. And so you never see anybody doing paperwork on the show. They don't even take notes when they do interviews.
They definitely don't show jury selection, because that sometimes can take 3 days.
They don't do that.
I've been in jury selection for over 3 days. A couple weeks one time on a really serious life case. especially during COVID. But
Can I digress on a story that I
Yeah.
thought of while you were making your Greyhound?
Please.
Salty dog.
yeah.
And you were mentioning how you drink vodka in the morning. Is that correct? Did I remember that correct?
No, you did not remember that correct. It's totally
Did
objection.
did she mention she drinks vodka in the
testimony.
morning? She mentioned she drank vodka in the morning, I think.
No, I said this is a great thing to drink in the morning. I didn't say I drink it in the morning.
Ah, okay.
Tom Brown's my husband. I'm going to make my favorite, which is a Greyhound. I love a nice Greyhound. It's particularly delicious in the morning. I'm just like,
So vodka, and you think about Russians and vodka are pretty well connected, right? And
they do like their
they do like to drink their vodka. I went over there and I taught a tactical school in 2000.
Okay.
And
So
it was
25 years ago.
It was a little better relationship between the FBI and the United States and Russia at the time. It was pre Vladimir Putin. I think he was the number 2 guy.
Who was it?
it was,
Gorbachev or is he later?
Yeltsin.
Oh,
And so Gorbachev, took down the wall with when Reagan was
okay, that was
there,
later.
and then Yeltsin followed him, and Yeltsin again embraced a more capitalistic, a more freer society, and the Soviet Union broke down, and that's where you have all those states, including Ukraine, now, and you had and Russia was alone, not as opposed to the USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. And as they were embracing capitalism in the 90s and early 2000s, they were taking the government control of a lot of these organizations and handing them off to individuals. And that's how you ended up with a lot of these oligarchs, is individuals who were like ministers of defense. Now all of a sudden they owned a bunch of oil fields and they were capitalizing on these things. And they had a capitalistic society, and that's how you end up with some very, very wealthy individuals over there in Russia.
An oligarch's just a super rich Russian guy.
Pretty much, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
For
and a lot of
layman's
power and control, but not a political position.
Okay. But they got a ton of money.
They got a ton of super, super, super wealthy.
Okay.
So as they did this, and they started, opening up and their system to capitalism, they started having difficulties with what we have here in the United States. They had organized crime, they had white collar crime, they had robberies, and they had different things that they hadn't dealt with before when they were, strict communist society. They've always been communism, but how they ran their private ventures had changed. And so as they were doing this, the FBI developed a relationship. Louis Freeh was the director of the FBI. And we started actually providing some training to their police forces, their federal police, their MVD. And I was given the opportunity with 3 other agents from Los Angeles, my buddy Bill Kirkpatrick, who passed away last year, Tim White. Tim White was my old partner, Tim White and Tom Brown. Yeah, I think you've ragged on us about that a few times. And our team leader
You
for
gotta admit they sound like fake names.
they may have been, they may
Agent Tim White and my partner Tom Brown. I'd be like, bullshit.
it may be, they may be fake. You might not even know what my real name is.
I want to know what my real last name is. I wanted something more exotic than Brown. And I just have to vent because this is my podcast. I'll say what I want. My entire life, did not care for my maiden name. Okay. It was Heather. I'm just telling you, Marvin. Marvin was my maiden name. And it sounds like I'm like a Viking maiden name. Anyway, yeah, I
You
tried.
upgrade it.
Yeah, okay, I definitely upgraded. Brown's better than Marvin, but people used to tease me when I was younger, call me Messy Marvin, Marvelin Marvis, Marvin Hagler. Okay, so I didn't love it, and I wanted a very cooler last name.
And you got it.
I know Brown. It is arguably
Downtown Heather Brown.
I love it now that it's got a little ring and a little jingle, but I got to tell you, my grandfather and my uncle and my nephew and many
Grandpa Charlie.
Yes. Many of the people, it's a family name, is to name your kids Charlie. And I, whether I had a boy or a girl, whether we had a boy or a girl, wanted to name my firstborn son Charlie or my firstborn daughter Charlie.
And I was okay with that.
No, you were. And
I was okay with that.
No, there was no way I was naming them Charlie Brown. I wasn't doing it, boy or girl. I'm not that much of a...
Well, quit your bitching. I gave you that option.
Yeah. Well, you could have had a... So I want to know, what is my real last name so I can change our kid's name to Charlie?
It's Brown. It's Brown. It is.
So boring. I mean, it's good.
You're not going to change Nick Brown, are you?
No, he's too cool. But
All right.
All right. We digress.
So in 2000, I was given the opportunity to go over there and teach a tactical school to Russian police officers. It was a week-long school. So kind of like when I would go back to the FBI Academy for a week-long training. They call it an in-service. You're already through the training academy at some point in your career. So a lot of these officers were senior officers in their federal police. And it was at their federal police academy in this town called Tver, which was 180 kilometers, a little bit northwest of Moscow. And it was a really neat experience, but these officers, I can't remember exactly how many folks we had in there. I think it was maybe 50 to 100 folks that we were training. And there were 4 of us that were going that were as instructors. We brought 2 translators, one from our New York field office. I can't remember her name. She was phenomenal. And she had been born in Russia and grew up and gone to college there. And she immigrated to the United States and became a citizen after that. And then we had a female translator, and I'm so sorry to her if she would happen to hear this. I can't recall her name right now.
Hey, we have over 1,000 listeners. She could be one of them.
She could be one of them. She had been over there, and she had, as a translator, had done like 13 trips. And she was kind of like our mother, took care of us. She knew what to expect, and she was very protective of us over there. And she knew that there were going to be things that were going to be difficult for us or uncomfortable. And so she had plans, and I'll tell you about that in a second. The other woman from our New York field office who had grown up in Russia, this was her first trip back, and she was a little bit nervous about going back there. And then the embassy hired a Russian national to be a third translator with us, because we would break up into smaller groups while we were there. We'd have classroom, and then we would do tactical training in smaller groups. And from the training aspect of it, the thing I remember most was just the Russian mentality on how they look at training. And I think even today, and I had grown up in college. I had a Russian area minor, so I took 12 credits of language, which destroyed my GPA, which you saw. I took 12 credits of Russian, the language, and they were 3 4-credit courses. And by the time I took Russian 3, you were supposed to have dialogue in Russian, and it's a completely different alphabet, the Cyrillic alphabet, and you're supposed to be able to converse with somebody. And they gave me a D, a passing D for...
He busts our kids' chops if they miss one question on the test.
Yeah.
You got some nerve.
They've got your brains.
Yeah. So why are you busting their chops? It's a good thing they got mine and not yours, Mr. D in Russian. Our son found my husband's transcript from middle school and saw he got like B's and C's.
While you're loading up your alcohol.
Sorry. It's grapefruit juice. Cut him out, Pete. All right. I was just talking about how sexy you were in your little jumpsuit.
Or second pour.
I didn't even
have some more vodka.
I'm going to need some, so I don't smother him with a pillow.
So I lost my train of thought. What was I talking?
You were
talking.
I could translators.
I could actually read this. I could sound out words, and I could get us back when we were in Moscow. We spent 2 nights in Moscow, and then we went up to Tver. Spent 5 days at the facility north of Moscow, and then we came back. When we were in Moscow, we stayed at a Sheraton hotel in downtown Moscow. And it was it was a 5-star hotel. I think at the time it cost $250 a night. And
Oh, bougie.
it was,
Back-
very upscale. They had a mall next to Red Square that rivals a mall in Southern California. You walked into this mall and they had Louis Vuitton stores, and they had a TGI Fridays. We ended up going there one of the days on the end of the trip. And it was surreal to see the difference when we went up to Tver, to their police academy. And what made me think about it, brought this up earlier, was vodka in the morning. These officers, a lot of them were staying in the same hotel in Tver that we were staying at. It was not a Sheraton. It was a smaller little motel with a shower head here and a sink here and a toilet there with like no separate enclosures, and then almost like a dormitory style room. And I as best I recall, I believe it was $8 a night after we were spending $250 a night for the first 2 nights in Moscow, and we overpaid for that $8 a night. It was pretty bad. But a lot of these folks, that was the normal living conditions for, when folks travel there. And a lot of the students in our class who were coming from different parts of Russia were staying in that same hotel, and they were drinking vodka first thing in the morning with their breakfast.
Before they were going to shoot?
Before they were going to shoot, before they were going to get tactical training, before they were doing anything.
Well, they got to level those.
They were drinking vodka. All right.
Were they drinking Greyhounds, though?
I think they were drinking straight vodka.
Oh, really?
They were drinking straight vodka.
Oh,
it was, there was nothing watering it down. I don't think there were an ice cube in there, no mixers, nothing. It was just straight vodka. And then we would go off to the tactical training. When we did the training.
Well, now that explains what you're about to tell us about the training. Right? They were shit-faced.
They were shit-faced. Well, they weren't. That was their norm. That was their norm. That was, 1 or 2 glasses of vodka first thing in the morning to, just start the day. That was exactly what they had. When we would teach them something, we would teach them a room entry, would teach them certain tactics. Whatever we taught them, almost 100% of the time, their response would be, "Oh, that's very good. Yes, very good. Let us show you how we do it." And that's how they talk. That's the Russian accent.
Okay, it was pretty good. I mean, you sound like the guy from Rocky.
Then they would.
I can't remember. Go on.
Then they would show us how they enter a room or whatever tactical thing we were talking about, and it would be the most fucked up thing I've ever seen in the tactical world. And without a doubt, we did this.
Do you want to demonstrate? Pete,
we did this.
Are you drunk enough to demonstrate
We finished with this. They had this one combat course that had obstacles and stuff that you'd have to shoot around. They had targets downrange, and they had walls and different things that you would kind of move, and you start from a distance and you'd come up. And so we went through it, and I don't know, shooting 50 rounds as you're moving through this course. And we went through it tactically and hit the target every time. And then they went through it and they were doing ninja rolls. They were it was like a movie. And they would come up and they finished faster. And you come up, and there were maybe 6 holes on the whole thing out of 50 rounds. And they were like, "Pretty good, huh?" You're like, But their mentality was that the Russian way, whatever they were taught the Russian way, was 100% the best way. And you can see it even today. That is how they are grown up in a closed society, very controlled on what information is provided to them. And they were not accepting of the information that we were trying to provide to them. We were trying to teach them better ways to do it. And maybe I'm sure individually a few people were like, "Yeah, this is messed up. I'm going to try this."
Can I just stop you for a second? I'm hoping that there's a listener or two out there that's wondering the same question. But I know that you've gone to all these other countries and done trainings, and you went to Budapest and some other places. But why is the United States government sending over agents to train the Russians?
Well, we're certainly not doing.
Aren't they like quasi our enemy at some point?
We're certainly.
I know that they might not have been an enemy at that point, but like it's never been like they're not Canada or Switzerland. Well, even that's probably a bad example, but you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make sense to me that the FBI is sending agents over to Russia to train them how to like kill us potentially. It seems anti-American, if I'm being honest. Which Greyhounds will do.
Well, unfortunately, but historically, that's the American way. I mean, we would go out and we were teaching them.
It sounds like the dumbest thing on the planet. It's like the local, police department, Santa Ana PD, going out and training the gangs on how to shoot better, how to make room entries and get through the tunnel of.
Well, if you look at it from that, not necessarily how to teach them how to shoot better, but you're
better tactics, which mean they're going to have an advantage over the Americans if they're as good as the Americans. It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, I'm sorry.
We were teaching their police, not their military, but there are, joint trainings on military and stuff. I'm not sure what all is entailed with Russia over the years. But if you look, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So even if somebody's your enemy, they're your friend at that particular moment in time. And so we were trying to develop a relationship with, as Russia, the Cold War was over. The wall had come down in Berlin in 89. This was about 10, 11 years after that. The Soviet Union was dissolved. It was now the Russian Federation and the individual states, and obviously now Russia, Putin has ideals of, recapturing the Soviet Union and, starting with Ukraine. And that's why that's such a hot button issue. But I mean, when we were there, a lot of the folks who had friends and buddies who were killed in Afghanistan. So I was there in 2000. The Russians were in Afghanistan for about 10 or 15 years. I'm not sure exactly how many, and finally left in I think 89. And so they had fought a war in Afghanistan, just like we fought a 20-year war in Afghanistan. The Russians were fighting the Mujahideen, however you say that. And the United States was helping support the Mujahideen, the rebels, the Islamic extremists, to fight communism. And then we ended up, when Russia said, okay, the hell with this, and they left, right? We came in and ended up fighting them, right? Because they provided us a stronghold for Al-Qaeda. So it's do we make mistakes, or do we not, do this? The individual officers, it's again, the politics of it,
it also
crazy.
That's to me.
But
all right,
but it was entertaining to me how
I could see that when the Russians are drunk. I want to get to a couple. I just have to hit a couple of these questions before we run out of time. Okay, I can't see anything because I'm blind. Let me grab my glasses. Okay. Here are a couple of our listeners' questions for you. I did put out a little thing like, hey, if you have any questions, let us know, okay? If you're walking alone at night and you notice someone following you, what steps should you take to make sure you're safe? So if I'm walking home, you got to picture me, honey, give me your best advice. I'm walking home, let's say I've had a cocktail or two, I'm going to my car, and it's like parked far away because I was too cheap to pay for valet parking. That might have been a dig on you. And
valet parking's overrated.
I know. Drives me nuts that he won't pay for it. Let's say I'm walking and traipsing in my high heels with my broken hip, and I have to go really far away, and it's dangerous now.
And you're carrying all the packages from the stores you bought.
Yes, that too. And so my hands, and I'm like on the phone telling you, I'm on my way. Like, now what do you think I should do?
So my single greatest advice for people who are out and about is you've got to be aware of your surroundings. And the biggest mistake a lot of women make, or individuals who become victims of crime is that they're not aware of their surroundings. They're involved in their phone, right? They've got headphones on when they're jogging. They're out and about and they're not paying attention to what's going on around them. And they put themselves into that situation where they become vulnerable. So,
but let's say I am paying attention to my surroundings and I'm like, I have no packages. I'm not on my phone. And I was trying to save money by not valet parking, which exposed me to greater risk of harm. And now I'm walking back to my car and I notice someone following me. Now, what do I do?
Okay, so depending upon if there are other businesses around it, you can go into a bar that might still be open. For you, it's probably the bar is going to be closed. Other people around. But if you were alone and you noticed them, and hopefully you noticed them at least with some type of distance, you know, I would immediately, get on your phone and call 911,
But if I left my phone in my purse,
Okay.
It's in my purse and I'm afraid that if I stop and look for my phone, run?
You can run, but you're probably in your heels are probably going to get caught. Right. So if you can, you're going to look for some place that you can get into that's going to provide some type of safety.
Okay. And if there's not, and some guy comes up on me,
And so
what's going to be my best tactic? Is it going to be, okay, because I like to carry self-defense tools.
you like to carry self-defense tools. Well, hopefully you've got one handy and you've got it in your hand.
Okay.
So
Let's talk about
I would not.
Go ahead.
Okay. I would not, if I were you, let that person get close enough to, I would stop and identify them, at a,
What do you mean identify him? I'm like, yeah, that's a scary guy who's going to rape me. Now what?
And show them, that you're not going to be an easy victim, right? Some people are going to be looking for an easy victim, right? If you show that you're going to put up a fight.
How do I do that?
Okay. By everything, by posture, by what you say, by your mannerisms and how you react. So if you've got some type of self-defense thing, it could be,
like a taser,
little stun gun. That's not really a taser, but it's a stun, just a little stun.
Pen.
A taser would be more like a
I think
dart.
it's got a battery. Great. That'd be my luck. I'm about to be attacked and I'm out of
You got to make sure it works, right? You could, take your keys, right? Now
I'm a goner. How about this one?
I'm talking to you.
I'm listening, but I do want to play with the stun gun for a second.
Okay. So if you've got your keys, I would take your keys and put them in your fist and let a key
be my
have
weapon.
the keys on me and come out between your knuckles there and you have
Okay, did you hear that, listeners? Put your keys in your hand and let the key.
So you've got some type of, if you don't have an impact weapon, if you've got like a big flashlight, you probably don't. Your purse is pretty heavy.
Clock them with the purse.
But it's not going to have enough solid. It's not going to have enough force from a certain thing. So, something that's going to provide a little bit of pain, to that person, right? So if you have some type of key and you can put it between your knuckles, it's kind of similar to a brass knuckles type concept. Put that in there. If you've got a taser, if you've got something in there.
Okay, I have a taser right here, and I just want to show those watching on YouTube or Spotify. This particular taser is cool. It's got a little wrist thing, and if you disable the pin, it no longer works. But when you got the wristlet on, hold on.
Whoa.
So I was thinking, you know what's funny? Our next guest has just arrived, and maybe he'll let me taser him. I'm just thinking. No shot? He says none. There's no chance in hell I'm tasering Mike Malfetta. But Tom Brown might let me taser him. And, okay, so
I'm almost done with my espresso martini.
I know you might need another one, huh? That's why I got him drunk so I could taser him and let you guys see what it feels like. Well, see what
so there
Tom Brown does when he gets
There are
tased.
a number of self-defense. There's some of these little.
Are these good? Should people get the taser?
They're not gonna, again, they're gonna make it more difficult. Most assailants are going to be looking for an easy prey, right? Which is why you want to be paying it. You don't want to make yourself that easy prey. Now, if someone's out there and you happen to come across, the Night Stalker, and it's like he's a serial killer.
Game over. I'm done for.
You're gonna try and do whatever you can, but it's not necessarily going to stop them. You know, you might hurt them, you might cause them some pain, but you're not going to necessarily stop them. Where someone else, if they're just looking for that easy, you know, I want that purse, and they don't want to get cut, they don't want to get hurt, they don't want to get, you know, kicked in the nuts, whatever it might be, then they're just going to go look for somebody else. And so
your
that's,
best defense is,
and that's the majority. That's the majority. Do not present as a victim.
Okay.
Don't present as a victim.
Look like a mean, badass bitch,
and pay attention so that you're not, you know, again, carrying a bunch of bags and not focused and completely oblivious to what's around you makes you easy prey.
Are dogs a good home defense tool?
Not our dog.
Well, yeah, that's true. He's like very
If Blackjack's not going to cause any.
When somebody comes to the door, he's like, somebody going to get that. Like, he is not interested.
Now, if we had Matt's dog, Zeus.
Oh, yes.
He's great. He's a 95-pound German Shepherd.
He scares the crap out of me, literally.
When Sophie and I went back to visit last week,
you were frightened.
We wanted to make sure he knew, because Matt wasn't there. He opened the garage remotely for us, and we went into the house, and we hadn't seen Zeus in a year. And I put Sophie, our daughter, in the front. She opened the door from the garage into the house.
So the SWAT guy hid behind the 14-year-old?
Absolutely.
15-year-old? Sorry.
Absolutely. Sophie had a better relationship with Zeus. And she called out, "Zeus, it's us." And he came down, and he did not attack us. He came down all happy, excited, even though we hadn't seen him
anywhere. Pants just a little bit. Don't admit that on there.
Okay. I did not.
It's so not sexy. Don't admit it, even if it happened. Okay. So pepper spray, is that good?
Pepper spray, again, is going to make
is it going to piss them off?
So if you're coming across the Night Stalker,
it's just going to piss them off.
It's going to piss them off.
Then I'm getting
but if it's coming across the vast majority, again, you're going to give yourself a fighting chance. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to give yourself a chance to get out of it, because
so you recommend paying attention and some type of self-defense tool.
And if you don't, again, you're going for, you're trying to cause some type of pain on that individual to cause him to say it's not worth it.
Where on the body do we go first?
So it could be anything. Again, I wouldn't recommend for most, smaller people, women and stuff in general, to be throwing punches and stuff. You're not going to get enough power in there, but you're going to get, like, your elbows are pretty, it's a big surface area. You're not going to miss it. If you could get, up underneath the jaw and make them bite their tongue, right? Make them slam their teeth in there. If you can get, a palm, boom, right into their nose and just, push, some cartilage up into their brain housing group, something like that, kick them in the balls, right? If they get a hold of you, right? What are you going to do? You're not going to, somebody who's 100 pounds heavier than you, you're not going to break their grip, right? You're not going to, but maybe you can get down there and you can peel off a pinky and make that pinky lay back here, right? You're strong enough and you want to fight for your life. You're going to break that pinky and put it in a direction it doesn't want to go. So you're working, against the normal body mechanics, right? You're using leverage and body mechanics to your advantage, right? If they've got your grip, right, you're not trying to fight through this part, right? The weakest part is where the fingers and the thumb come together, right? So that's where you've got to try and, get away, right? And the easiest thing to do, the old Japanese and the martial arts concept of, going with their momentum. So when somebody's pulling you, go with that momentum. So they're going there and then pull away, right? And you're going to help yourself on something like that. But you're going to get hurt. If somebody wants to hurt you, they're going to hurt you, right? But you have to have that mentality of, I am not going to go easy. And if you have that mentality, there's a good percentage of fights that you're going to survive, right? You're going to get out of there if they just want, and give up property. Property is not worth anything. You getting physically hurt in any manner, it's not worth it, getting, having to go to the hospital. It's not worth getting raped. It's not worth getting killed, to save your purse, to save anything in there, everything is replaceable. Give it up. If somebody's coming at you and they're there, the whole concept of the flashbang, right? A distraction coming into a room.
Are those legal? Like, could we have some in the house if someone?
They're not, but,
you might have a couple left over. Wink, wink.
But the same concept of it is
distraction,
right? A distraction, right? So somebody's coming at you, throw your valuables, your car keys, your purse onto the ground. that might give you enough as they go to bend over to either strike them or to get away, to get to a safer position, right? So you can use that same concept of having a distraction to help you out there. And there's
I read one time that girls, like college girls, should have like wasp spray in their bedside table because it has a straighter stream and it'll get in their eyes and then it won't get you because the pepper spray makes you cough and like, right?
Yeah, it's gonna, if you
Just
go into it,
everywhere.
it's gonna, yeah, if you go
affect you too, but the wasp spray has that very, streaming effect, and it has the same effect as pepper spray, but doesn't cause you to be disabled.
There's a pro and a con with, on those, right? So something that comes out in a more of a spread pattern is, again, you're going to have a better radius of actually getting them. You go to the spray and you don't get them.
You got a better aim. If you're
Correct.
Going with the wasp
It's
spray.
the same idea concept with, what's the best home defense weapon? A shotgun, right? A shotgun with some buckshot in there, right? Because, even though you are a sharpshooter, or are you an expert? Even though you are a sharpshooter, expert, you might miss with your handgun. But if you put that shotgun in your shoulder and you've got some buckshot or birdshot going down range, right? That's going to have a good pattern that you're going to hit them. And that's probably why, that's the main reason why a shotgun is the best home defense.
Oh, that's good. That's a great tip.
There you go.
I love it.
Did I get paid extra for that?
Gosh, you get extra for that, Tom Brown. Well, gosh, you've given us so many great safe techniques and home defense techniques and crazy stories. And I think he's a little liquored up. He might be nicer to me tonight. Right?
Are you going to tase me?
I might. I'm going to try it later. Right? Just to see. That's what happens.
What if I cry? Here you go.
FBI
Here you go.
agents don't cry. Oh, can I tase them? Are you going to let me tase you on camera? For reals?
Are we on both cameras?
Mike won't let me do it. He's such a sissy. I'm on the record. Mike Moffetta's a sissy and won't let me tase him. Wait, am I climbing over the bar to tase you?
No, you're just going to go ahead and reach over.
I'm not going to do it on your bare skin. All right, are you watching this?
Oh,
What if it hurts? What if you go into cardiac arrest? I don't even have life insurance on you. I'm going to do a little baby tape.
watch the glass.
Okay, I'm scared.
Oh, movie class. She already broke one today.
Hey, don't tell our listeners that. And I'm clumsy. Hold on.
Don't hold off your chair.
I can't believe you're going to let me tase you. Nick said, my son Nick
He
said,
said it because he knew he wouldn't be here.
yeah, now he's leaving his dad. Are you scared at all?
I don't know. So good. Go, do it again.
For real? What is wrong with you? You like it. I think he's in the pain or something.
And that's a wrap, folks. Oh, Vic, you did it 3 times. I told her not to do it again.
Did it get you? Did it hurt? He took that like a champ. Tom Brown,
Somebody who
let me tase you. That didn't do shit. I'd be dead. This doesn't do
Somebody
anything.
who wants to hurt you, it's not going to be
shocked.
It might make him flinch and stuff. It might piss him off, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who
I'm voting.
is looking for easy prey. That could be enough of a deterrent.
They might not know that this doesn't
Right.
hurt as bad as it
Right,
sounds.
exactly.
It's scary. The sound.
Right, and
is scary.
absolutely. So the
Okay.
thing with the shotgun, the most effective part about the shotgun is when you rack that round in there, and they're like, "Oh shit, this is the real thing," and so
It's the noise.
it's the noise, it's the intimidation factor. So I agree. That's an Now don't just keep holding on to it till it burns out, and then
What if you get him right and then we're not going to try that. All right. I think this is a wrap. I'm getting out of hand. I'm getting out of hand with the taser. We're going to try pepper spray on the next episode.
it's not breast spray.
So- no, it's. Oh my gosh. That's too funny. Yeah. We will try. Our next party trick is pepper spray. And then what else could we do? Try the shotgun round. No, I'm kidding. All right.
Well, we'll invite your friend Kevin Smith, and we'll.
Oh, yeah. Tom Brown did this cute party trick where he put Kevin Smith out. Like, what is that? Carotid artery?
Carotid restraint. They refer to it as the chokehold. It's not really a chokehold, but you're putting pressure on the carotid arteries and causing someone to basically to go unconscious for a moment or two.
Yeah. And so our friend did that. And then after the fact, because he wanted to, it was consensual. He wanted to show everybody at the party how Tom Brown could do this little party trick. And then Tom proceeded to tell him that there's actually some potential consequences to doing that.
Yeah. After he went out and he came back, I told him, that was good, because sometimes when people go out, they lose control of their bowels and, and bladder, and sometimes they shit and piss themselves. And Kevin did not. So bravo on
Praise
Kevin.
the Lord on that one. All right.
Because it wasn't even his house. And it wasn't our house. So I didn't care.
A party foul for sure. All right. We got to wrap this up before things get even more out of control. Thanks for joining us on this exciting episode with Tom Brown, demonstrating all these tactical defense moves and telling us about Russia and how we're training the Russians. Seems a little scary.
I don't think we've been over there in a while.
But, well, good. Seems like a dumb idea to begin with. Anyway, thank you, Tom Brown, for all of your enlightenment and for sharing a little bit of part of yourself with my listeners and our listeners. So until we meet again.
You're welcome, Heather Brown. Oh, downtown Heather Brown. That rings nice.
It does ring nice, doesn't it? Until we meet again, it's a wrap. While you're waiting for the next episode to drop, if you can't find the light, be the light like Tom Brown, just, helping us stay safe out there. See you next time.